you can also hear me. Let's start with the major news highlights of the day. The Accra Central District Court 3 has remanded into police custody 34 suspects for their alleged roles in the murder of Captain Maxwell Adam Mahama. The suspects, including 4 women and 2 nursing mothers, have been charged with conspiracy to commit murder and murder. President Akufo-Addo has challenged African leaders not to rely on donor institutions to decide for the continent where its emphasis of education should be. At the 14th General Conference of the Association of African Universities in Accra, the president stressed African economies should be run in a way that will enable the funding of education to be free from foreign interference. The ruling New Patriotic Party has directed all regional executive committees to organize regional annual delegates conferences not later than July 26 ahead of the national conference in Cape Coast. At a news conference in Accra, the party's acting General Secretary John Buedu announced June 26 as the deadline for considering submission of proposals for any amendments to the party's constitution. And Israel will soon send technology-serving teams to Ghana to assess the best way of improving the country's technological capability. The country will also benefit from a $1 billion solar energy investment from Energia Global of Israel. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page, and you can hear us on 3FM 92.7, as well as on the TuneIn app on your mobile phone. Up next is the big one. Welcome. Now, the late Maxwell Adam Mahama has been posthumously promoted to the rank of Major. President Akufo-Addo, who made the announcement, also revealed the late officer will be giving a state burial on Friday.
Akufo-Addo, in the company of some government officials, commiserated with the family of the late Captain Mahama. The late officer was lynched by some residents of Dentra Boase in the Upper Dentra district of the Central Region on Monday, May 29. President Akufo-Addo reiterated his resolve to ensure perpetrators are dealt with according to the law.
Unfortunate matters that has brought us here were told to me very soon after it happened. And my words to the Minister of Interior who brought the news was that he should spare no stone, absolutely, to make sure that everybody who was involved in this horrible event would face justice. Fortunately for me, the police have been very active. I think as I speak, at least 40 people have now been remanded in custody, awaiting the formal processes of a trial and a prosecution.
Describing the late captain as a hero, the president announced his promotion to the rank of a major.
Promoted him to the rank of major. The cabinet agreed that we should also erect a monument, an appropriate and suitable monument in his honor in Ghana. We decided to set up a memorial trust fund in honor of Major Maxwell Adam Mahama. Government has decided to give 500,000 cedis as seed money to the trust fund.
The late Major Mahama will be given a state burial on Friday at the State House, Accra.
And still in relation to the lynching of Major Mahama, if I could call him, so the Accra Central District Court 3 has remanded into police custody 34 suspects for their alleged roles in the murder of Maxwell Adam Mahama. The suspects, including 4 women and 2 nursing mothers, have been charged with conspiracy to commit murder and murder.
Under heavy police protection, these 34 suspects have for the first time appeared in court. State Prosecutor George Amaka presented the fact of the case and prayed to the court to remand the suspect until the next adjourned date on June 21, 2017. The prosecutor said that would enable them continue the investigations into the gruesome murder. 41 suspects have so far been remanded in police custody. On Thursday, June 1, 7 other suspects who were arrested in connection with the murder were also remanded in Cape Coast. Trial judge Ebenezer Kwekwansa granted the request of the prosecution to remand the suspect. Captain Maxwell Mahama, a commander of the 5th Infantry Battalion Detachment stationed at Diaso, was lynched on May 29, 2017, when some angry youth of the town attacked him, allegedly on suspicion of being an armed robber. He was beaten to death with part of his body burnt.
And workers of the Electricity Company of Ghana have blamed the Minister of Energy, Boakye Jarko, for the mob attack against staff of the company at Somanya in the Eastern region. According to the Deputy General Secretary of the Public Utilities Workers Union, Richard Nyaba, a joint National Executive Council meeting of senior and junior staff of ECG have resolved workers of the company in the area should vacate post effective today.
Residents of Somanya attacked the ECG office in the town following their dissatisfaction with what they described as outrageous utility bills. Following the incident, there has been a joint National Executive Council meeting of senior and junior staff of the company to deliberate on the issue. According to the workers, there has been a trend in the attacks on ECG workers following similar situations at Dansoman, Roman Ridge, Teshi, Ashaiman, Kede and Kwabre.
They were attacked on Friday, the 26th of May, and for the fear of their own safety, the workers decided to vacate the place.
The ECG workers blamed the recent attack on their staff on statements by the Energy Minister on billing challenges. Deputy General Secretary Richard Nyaba says only firm assurances of the safety of ECG workers in Somanya will lead to a reversal of the directive.
We are saying until they are assured of their safety, they should not also get back to work. They should stay at where they know they will be safe.
The emergency meeting directed that red flags be hoisted at all ECG operational areas for 1 week in solidarity with the workers at Somanya.
Let's get on to the telephone lines. Honorable Magnus Kofi Amwate is the MP for Yellow Krobo constituency in the Eastern region. He's joining us on the telephone lines now. Good evening, Honorable. We need to hear your reaction to the decision by the Public Utilities Workers Union for the ECG workers to withdraw their service to the area.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me. Let me say that the decision of the Public Utility Workers Union to the electricity workers who withdraw their services is actually unfortunate. And let me say, very much uncalled for. Why am I saying this?
Exactly.
This issue came up about a week ago, and since then, already, the electricity office in Somanya has not been working. So it is not surprising at all. They are already not working. Number two, since this incident broke, there have been series of consultations and actions to resolve the matter. The leadership of YILO, notably the Traditional Council, convened a meeting of the youth, of union leaders, and it is on record that the youth came out openly to apologize for the rioting that occurred.
Honorable, despite the apology, I've also, I used that Somanya Road to Accra yesterday, and I noticed the presence of armored vehicle stationed at the premise right in front of the electricity office in Somanya. But I am concerned because the workers are worried about their safety, and all they want is an assurance that they're safe. Are you not able to make that assurance in consultation with the Regional Security Council?
I have said that a series of meetings have been going on. And in fact, let me say that the leadership of ULO have had a meeting with the top management of ECG, and this assurance was conveyed to the management of ECG.
And action has been taken to exact the assurance?
Exactly. So we have a series of activities lined up for this week in which we are going to go out to assure electricity workers of their safety. As I said, consultations and dialogue are very well advanced. And I know that by the end of this week, by the proposals from parties, by the end of this week, I know that we'll put this on pass. We'll so seriously resolve the matter.
Right. Honourable, we're grateful. Thank you very much. Honourable Amate is MP for Yilo Krobo constituency. Now, the Ministry of Education says it will not tolerate lateness by invigilators and other officials who are supervising candidates of the BEC examinations. According to the ministry, offenders will be sanctioned.
Secretary of State, Professor Kwesi Yankah, gave the warning when he toured some BEC centers in Accra. Together with the Director General of Education, their first port of call was the Accra High School, where students were busily writing their first paper. Later, the team visited the Achimota Cluster of Schools Center, where candidates from 5 schools were writing their papers. One student was indisposed, but had to finish with the first paper. The team made another stopover at Achimota Junior High School. The Minister and the Director General of Ghana Education Service again visited the Anumile Cluster of Schools. Briefing the media after the tour, Professor Kwesi Yankah warned invigilators and other officers to desist reporting late to the centers.
Things like traffic and so on and so forth being an impediment and stopping you from being punctual will not be accepted from tomorrow going.
Director General of GES, Professor Pukwa Mankwa, said government has secured funds to pay invigilators after the exams.
We're expecting to have paid last week, but you know that these things go through procedures at the finance. They have to make sure that they get their numbers and everything right. So we are very definite that before they finish this week, their monies will be with them.
After the first paper, some students shared their experiences.
Write a story that ends with the experience, so it's paid to be kind and strangers. So you have to show good kind to strangers. Maybe someone is passing by, you don't know, although you don't know the person, you can help the person if he asks for direction or excuse me please, can you give me some water to drink? You can serve the person and maybe it's an angel of God.
What's your name?
My name is Judith.
Judith what?
Judith Avumi.
How was your paper?
The letter writing. Write a story that ends with experience so as to be kind to a stranger. How can you be kind to a stranger that you don't know? So, like, to me, like I can't be kind to a stranger just like that because he's a stranger. I don't know what he may do to me.
Well, angel of God, we all need angels of God. Let's move away from that. Stay on this a bit, I beg your pardon. Dr. Prince Amma is Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. He's joining us on Skype now. Good evening, Doc. Thank you very much for your time. I know that you've been following this BEC issues for quite a while, not necessarily because it's exams time, but day one is already over and 4 more days to go. What will be your advice to the pupils as we enter day 2 of the examination?
Well, I mean, good evening and many thanks for the opportunities. I would want to say that this year's BEC has been generally well conducted. There hasn't been any leakages as we usually expect. For our young ones, I would only advise them to continue to study hard and to do well so that they can progress to the next level.
Progressing to the next level is absolutely one of the best news that those who will pass need to face, because then if they pass, they're going to enjoy free SHS. Is this good news, or you should say we should take it with some skepticism?
Well, I mean, we have always, all of us have embraced the free senior high school policy, and so we think it's very welcoming. But what is important is for us to understand that BEC, by the way the examination has been designed, does not have any pass or fail. You don't pass or fail BEC. So that's the point I was trying to put across when the Minister for Education introduced that concept. There's a distinction between getting the qualifying grades to go to senior high school and saying that somebody has passed. The basic education certificate examination is a constitutional requirement that our people must undergo a basic education. And we decide to give them a certification for completing that basic education. If you say they have failed, who has failed? Is it the system that has failed them or what? So you pick any BEC certificate and look at the back and you see that the grade interpretation starts from highest to the lowest. There's nothing like pass or fail. But having said that, I think that what is critical is government having enough funds to be able to accommodate everyone who successfully go through the basic education.
But Doc, I am interested in the certification discussion. I know there have been calls for BEC, which is the first main examinations for our pupils. Some have called for total abolishing. I mean, what you're saying suggests that you agree with those views that we should move away from certification and totally make BEC just an entry requirement without necessarily drawing that distinction of fail and pass.
Yeah, I mean, if you decide to go and look at some of the write-ups on the BEC, you will find that I have done quite extensive on that. Basic education certificate examination is baseless and useless at this point. The intent and purpose has not been served. It was supposed to be a certification exams and then a termination point for people who can enter into the world of work, and that's why people were provided with facilities, for example, experimental schools, so people can learn trade and be able to enter the world of work when they finish. And for those who don't have what we say in psychology, the cognitive ability to continue to do academic work, they will do the work, they will enter to the world of work. And for those who do have it, will go to secondary school and the rest. At this point, at the age of 15, it is internationally within the context of contemporary educational understanding that you don't segregate kids at that young age. At age 15, it's improper and questionable to segregate them because of issues of, for example, self-fulfilling prophecy. If a child is unable to pass the exams, pass in quote, as we do understand in the current language,
right,
then it means that that child feels that his own cannot continue again. So we need to scrap it, and I think that if you look at what the government has said in its budget statement, it's likely that next year we should not see any examination called BEC.
Right. Dr. Amma, we're grateful for your time. Thank you very much. Dr. Amma is the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. This is News at 10, live from the News Hub at this hour. You can also hear us on 3FM 92.7. We have more news for you. Please don't go away. Netanyahu has promised to strengthen relations with Africa to improve trade, agriculture and education. Speaking at the 51st ECOWAS summit in Liberia, the Israeli leader called for an effective collaboration to fight terrorism.
The foundation for cooperation we lay today will last many decades into the future. Today, Israel and the countries of ECOWAS are in advanced stages of cooperation on joint projects in agriculture, in energy, education.
He wants Africa to partner Israel in harnessing the resources of the continent. The Israeli leader advocated a concerted effort in dealing with the threat of terrorism.
These terrorists worship death, they murder indiscriminately, but they will not frighten us. They will not terrorize us. They will only harden our resolve to defeat them. And together here in Africa, in the Middle East, and Europe, everywhere, together we will defeat them faster.
Let's do some analysis now. Emmanuel Bensa is an ECOWAS policy analyst. He's joining us on the telephone lines now for a discussion on this. Mr. Bensa, good evening and thank you for your time. So let's talk about the issues being raised at the 51st summit, including Israel's friendship, more like friendship to ECOWAS. This is the first time that Israel has attended the ECOWAS summit. Is this something that we should be happy about?
I don't think there's anything to be happy about. An economy as powerful as Israel seeking to seek strategic, relations and seeking to revise its foreign policy. I don't think there's anything to be happy about that. I mean, it's its own national interest to do so, to seek greener pastures, as it were, and find out what opportunities exist in West Africa. I mean, Israel has already been to East Africa. That was a couple of months ago, and realizes that West Africa is also a burgeoning economy region.
So if I understand you correctly, all the calls for closer ties in agriculture and technology, it's not like Israel is looking out for ECOWAS, but really it's also pursuing its interest.
Of course. At the end of the day, states will always pursue their own interest ahead of anything else. You know, there are no permanent friends, only permanent allies. So that kind of thing. So that's how it is with Israel, and I think ECOWAS leaders are wise enough and smart enough to know that it's about strategy. Being strategic about the kind of partnerships that you form, so that you can maximize the ways that you prosecute your agenda of integration. Apart from the solar projects, we know, for example, that they signed an agreement on cooperation on terrorism, and I think Israel, with Mossad and all its historical, fight against terrorism, we know how very strong it is. Be able to offer the best, probably one of the best alongside Morocco, some of the best counterterrorism strategies. So in that respect, it's great. We probably need that for the sub-region to be able to beef up our security.
Right. So let's look at Togo. Togo assuming the chairmanship of ECOWAS. What do you think Gnassingbé's chairmanship brings on board to the sub-regional body?
Well, first of all, Yadema's, for Gnassingbé's father, was one of the key people who was instrumental in setting up ECOWAS. It was his father, Yadema, alongside Nigerians, Gowon, that went around ECOWAS member states, West African states, in the 70s to be able to convince West African leaders that they should come together under what we now know as the Economic Community of West African States. So really, his father, it's a legacy issue in my view. his father was instrumental. The history books will show that he was key in the establishment of ECOWAS. Despite what we now know of his credentials, probably his anti-democratic credentials, dictatorship, and all the rest of it. But if we fast forward many years down the line, I think Togo has been a country to look out for, because Togo has done a number of important things, key among which recently has been the hosting of an AU conference in October 2016 about the blue economy. Now, we all know about Togo, its free port and so on, but it's a country that has a shoreline, much like the rest of the West African countries and so on. So it feels that it's important to pay attention to hosting a conference like the Blue Economy, which it did so very successfully last October, and has set the pace on the whole continent, getting it correct, getting it right on how we govern our oceans, that kind of thing.
Mr. Benson, I'm afraid time has run out on us, but we're grateful extremely for the time. Thank you very much for making time for us on News at 10. I'm Stephen Anti, and for those who listen to us on radio, thank you for leaving your dial there. Good night.